Now, when he runs, he likes to be close to the front or on the front. Would that be fair to say? I mean, Aiden says he's got a ton of speed. How's that going to fare with the American speed horses? That's a different brand of speed.
It's a great question, and I think he has the ideal profile for a classic horse in that he stays very well. He ran extremely well over 1 mile and 4 furlongs in the Epsom Derby, but he's got mile speed. He took out the Sussex Stakes and the QE2 at Ascot, both high-quality mile races. So he's got that combination of aggression, speed, and stamina that you look for in a classic horse.
I think he looks fabulous, guys, to be honest, on the track, because if you look at his attitude, and he's washed out a little bit just because it's very hot out here and it's his first day out on the track. But you'll see this horse is going to look tremendous come Saturday, and he looks better to me than Giant's Causeway did when he came over, or Henry the Navigator when he came over. Rip will rip them apart.
Yeah, but there's got to be some concern, Frank, don't you think, with Aiden saying he didn't ship that well? I mean, and him bringing to attention yesterday, I think it's very good of him, by the way, Aiden O'Brien, to go out there and say he's got problems with his feet. I mean, this is the biggest race in the world right now. He's facing a career filly in Zenyatta who's 13 for 13. Don't you want everything going in the right direction with a few question marks here and there?
Well, I think that Aiden is quite nervous with this horse because I think that he thinks that this is absolutely, he told me himself he's the best horse that Ballydoyle has ever had, and he'll have his few problems, but so watching him go on the track today, jog and gallop, I don't see those foot problems coming to the fore. And I mean, if he is a 75%, and I say that with all respect, but I think he still wins. If
not a shot.
75%. Come on, now you're getting out of control. And by the way, if you want to draw the comparison to Giant's Causeway and Henry the Navigator, well, then that means he doesn't win.
Yeah, they both got beat. Yeah. One more thing about the feet. You know, the British surface over there, the ground, is very kind to feet. He's going to be on a different surface, a surface he's never been on before, the synthetic surface. It's not going to be as kind on his feet as it is overseas.
That's true. I mean, that is true.
All right. Still bold statements from Frank Lyons, but we've come to expect that. Regal Ransom, I made the bold statement. I thought he could win the Kentucky Derby this year. We know it's Godolphin's dream. It's their quest. He didn't fulfill that dream, but he has come back around. And now looking back at the Louisiana Super Derby, he beat Blame, who's returned to beat older horses. Is this maybe the Regal Ransom we finally expected?
Yes, he did beat Blame, but he got everything in his own way in that race. Here he is galloping earlier this morning. What he's wearing, by the way, for the novice viewer, is what's called a set of draw reins. This is designed to keep the horse's head down and use his back end and build a little more muscle tone back there. That's what those are. We haven't seen them on the Works this year, and if you're just watching for the first time, it's a piece of equipment that is routinely used throughout the morning as far as training hours go.
It's also used on horses that are tough to gallop,
yeah.
And he is tough to gallop. Remember one thing about his Super Derby win, he did it off a layoff since May. Came back on September the 19th, went 1 mile and 1/8 on the front and the whole way. He should improve off that race.
Gio Ponti was putting together one of the best seasons on the turf, maybe seen since Manila, for an American-based horse. It was a phenomenal year, and then the upset last time out at Belmont Park, and they go to the Breeders' Cup Classic. I look at him and think maybe that race will go a long way and set it up nicely for the 1 1/4 mile.
Totally 110% agree with you, Todd. I think they went in here not because of the surface, but because of the distance in the Breeders' Cup turf. This is not a true 1.5 mile horse at all. The reason he is in the Classic because of the 1 1/4 distance. He's proven over this surface. He is a big-time sleeper in the Classic.
And the mile is too short.
So.
The mile on the turf is too short for him, so this is where he ends up. Is this his best surface? Not in my opinion.
I think that he's good enough on this surface if
he's 75%.
Yeah, if he's 60%. But if Rip gets beat, if he doesn't show up on Saturday, I see this horse with a big chance.
Quality Road representing America in the Classic, and he might have been one of our favorites for the Kentucky Derby had he made it there. This is his work at Belmont Park.
Yeah, what we're going to show you now is a work, and then he's got on the airplane and come here to the track, and we're going to show you how he's jogging out of this work first time here at Santa Anita. Here he is on the outside of a decent workmate in Harlem Rocker, a Grade 1 winner, moving fairly nicely over the training track at Belmont under Johnny Velasquez. Fast forward the clock about 72 hours, and here he is this morning jogging on the track the wrong way. Now, this is a horse that was moved from Jimmy Jerkins to trainer Todd Pletcher, and he has been besieged by foot problems. And you can see those foot problems come to surface here the way he's moving on the track.
The last time I said a horse was not having his best day, that trainer never talked to me again, but I'm going to have to say it here. He's not having his best day.
Todd, take Tom's number out of your cell phone.
Graham, we know your view of horses that are coming over from your part of the world. What is the European view of the American horses in the Classic? Who do they most fear if they think Rip Van Winkle's going to get beat? What American-based horse do they think is going to do it?
They fear Zenyatta. She's the Queen of California. She's got a huge profile, huge fan club in Britain and Europe as well. So anyone who wants to win the Classic has Zenyatta to beat. But I think people feel that her run style, she gets far back, she may have to come wide down the stretch and into the home straight, could be a problem for her. By contrast, you're going to have Rip Van Winkle just off the pace in a perfect stalking position. So tactically, I think the race sets up better for Rip than Zenyatta, but anyone who likes Rip in this race is just going to have one phrase in their mind, and that is "feet don't fail me now."
Yeah, it's very true. And one thing's for sure, it's going to be shadows with Zenyatta. She will come running late, even if Rip has the lead about mid-stretch. Let's move on to the TVG Mile. TVG is the multi-year sponsor of the Mile on the Turf, and we look now at those entered and the morning line. Goldikova back to defend her title.
And she rightly should be the morning line favorite. The problem here is the post position. We'll get into that in a little bit later on. But other horses in here to maybe mention. Delegator, I think, for the Europeans. I think the morning line has it right. I think the Europeans really have a lot to say in the outcome of this race.
Let's look at Goldikova out on the track this morning.
Yeah, let's take a look at her. I like the way she traveled here. Freddie Head said earlier this week she has traveled here, Tom, better than she did last year. And for European making their first start on the main track here, remember she did it a year ago, she makes a very, very favorable impression. Not looking around, very sure of her business. She knows what she's here for.
You know what, Simon? We talked about this back in the trailer when we watched this gallop. There's some horses from Europe that have come over and look like they know exactly what's going on and what they're prepared to do. Goldikova is one of those horses. She looks like an American horse over here, training brilliantly. Boy, it's going to be tough to beat, 11 hole or not.
I'm going to pose the same question to you, Graham. She's 8-5 on the morning line. She's coming off a defeat last time out in a race that she was supposed to win, and now she has drawn the outside post. Why should I go and play her 8-5?
It's the perfect questions. I hope I've got the perfect answers. One, the Longshore defeat was very, very forgivable. She had a terrible draw, and it was 7 furlongs. And the draw, a key question, but I would refer the honourable gentleman to this track, this race 6 years ago, another super French filly, a super crack, 6 perfections, drawn 13 of 13. She got the job done with no fuss under Jerry Bailey.
When you look at back-to-back winners in the mile over the years, can we put her in the category of Miesk as far as her kind of ability?
Yes, I think we can.
Really, that good?
It's a big, big call. But if you saw at Deauville in the summer when she pulverized a high-quality European field, 6 lengths, value for more, and she was disappointing last time, there's no denying that, but if she's on her A game, she has 2 or 3 lengths ahead of this book. Just on the time form ratings, this is a European dominator. Absolutely. Because they've got the top 4, not just 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got obviously Goldikova, we've got Delegator, we've got Zachinto, an improving horse, and we've also got Gladiatoris, who was dominant in Dubai in the spring and is potentially back in form. So this is, this is going to be a huge disappointment. I've been a little bit conservative, a little bit English reserve in the first 3 days, but I'm picking up confidence all over the shop. It's time to bang the European drum. This is in the bag for Europe.
And Freddie Head rode Mies, remember? He trains her. He's probably the guy to ask that question.
Well,
right,
he has said that he rates this filly higher than Miesk. Now, I think that's a little bit of wishful thinking right there, but because Miesk was probably one of the best milers ever, But this mare Goldikova now, she looks, Graham, I think she looks better this year.
Well, and, to Graham's point as well, the backup policies are pretty good here. I mean, just take a look at Delegator. When we were at Royal Ascot, Simon there and got to watch the St. James Palace Stakes in person against Master Craftsman, I thought I'd never see a better race the rest of the year. And then I came back to the States and got to watch Rachel Alexandra. But yeah, even if Goldikova is a little off her game, it doesn't seem like there's an American-based horse that's going to make her pay for that.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think the post position is going to be a problem. I was just being the devil's advocate here on the set. I think, jockey Olivier Pellet is going to get plenty of pace. What he needs is plenty of pace, and he's going to get that because Gladiatoris is going to go to the front. He's a very quick racehorse, and I think Olivier Pellet can get this horse over and save ground into that first turn.
Are you bringing the post position into play or not?
No, I'm not. I don't think it's an issue.
I mean, look, come on. It's the 11 hole. things can happen from the 11 hole. Call it the horse gods, call it karma, whatever you want to call.
Yeah.
You can have a bad trip from out there going a mile from the 11 hole. If she gets one of those, she's not going to win.
You can have
right,
a bad
Tom.
trip from the 1 hole, too.
Well, you certainly can, but it's a lot easier to have a bad trip from the 11 hole with a filly that wants to be forwardly placed.
Yeah, there's a reason that the guys get upset when they draw bad post positions, because historically, you know, they need to be much the best to win from out there. And looking at Lucky, he's drawn the 13, sensational, the 1 hole. There's a lot of short price favourites, didn't draw at all well.